Hello and welcome back to Football Index Moneyball for another Pick of the Day video. For today's pick, we have a young English talent playing at a Premier League club who at 21 already has 90 senior appearances to his name with 4 goals and 6 assists at a rate of 0.16 per 90. He also became the club's youngest ever captain last season and he's been given the armband on 5 different occasions. He's been a regular for the England under-21 team with 14 appearances from 2017 to 2019. And he was also given the armband for one of the recent under-21 Euro qualifiers. Just a reminder, if you do get any value or entertainment from the video and you want to help support the channel, don't forget to like, subscribe and leave a comment below. You can also hit the bell icon to be notified when new videos are posted. And if you want to follow me on Twitter, then you can search @IndexMoneyball. So if you hadn't worked it out already, the player we're going for today is Tom Davies. He plays at Everton and he's a 21-year-old English central midfielder. He's 63p at the minute. He's just had a recent rise, which actually I was considering not making this video because I thought it was probably a bit late and everyone was aware that he was underpriced. But he seems to be dropping back down again, so who knows, if you're watching this video a couple of weeks after I made it, there's a chance he might be even cheaper. I think that it's going to be continued rises and falls based on whether he gets regular start times or if people think he's going to start in certain games. But I do think once he starts to break into the team, he's going to see a significant increase. And I'll give you some of the reasoning for that later. So I've come over to Football Index Edge, to the Master Stats table. And here I've just searched for Tom Davies, and this is his record since August 19, 2017. So there's not much really in this top section for me. His average match day score of 23.5 and his max match day score of 93. He's not been playing very much recently. He's still very young. I don't think there's too much you can read into these stats at this point because of the number of appearances he's had as a sub and also just the fact that he's a long way from his full potential. We've seen on the index recently that young English players don't necessarily need to be racking up the PB wins or the media wins. People like to price in the prospects for the future. So the thing that I am interested in is this graph. Now, earlier this season he hit a peak of 63p. He then dropped off because he hadn't been playing. He's actually back up at that 63p mark now, but he's still not been playing. So I think this is more people recognising the fact that there's a lot of value in his price because he was down as low as 54p in September. The thing that I'm most interested in on this graph is the jumps that we can see here. So from the September 22nd, he was 35p and he got up as high as 48p in October 13th. And that was when he'd just been given the armband and he'd made a couple of appearances in a row. And he didn't score, he didn't assist, he didn't get any particularly great scores, but just the fact that he was playing was enough to increase his price by that amount. And then you can see the fall away as he was back on the bench. And again, this season, people were hoping that he was going to be starting before he dropped again. So with the League Cup coming up, I think he's going to get some minutes, hopefully. And as a backup, I always think that if a young English player is not going to be playing at their team, especially one of the quality of Tom Davies, I would imagine that he's either going to get loaned out or there's going to be some transfer speculation about him moving on to another club. He just signed a new contract in April of 2019, so they've got him tied down to 2023, which implies they probably have him in their future plans. But we'll have to see how it develops. I personally am going to be buying as long as he's not playing, and when he starts, I'll probably just leave my position there, and unless he shows something really different and his quality's even more than I expected, I probably will just build the position now, like I say. So as we talked about, Tom Davies has made quite a lot of appearances for the first team already, but this season he's been struggling for form. There isn't a great deal to look at on his Transfermarkt page, but I thought this was an interesting filtered search that I did, which was for 21-year-old central midfielders. And you can see the list of players ahead of him here are some pretty good names. And Sean Longstaff is one that I'm going to be using in my price analysis later. And an interesting thing about that one is, even though Sean's playing for Newcastle regularly, he's never represented the England under-21s, which means, as a direct comparison, the coaching staff at the under-21s have chosen Tom Davies over him repeatedly. And they believe him to be a better player, I assume. But Tom, even though he's not been playing, is still rated as the 7th most expensive 21-year-old central midfielder in world football. And I think if he had been playing regularly, or if he was to get 10 to 15 games this year, I'd expect to see him somewhere up near the top, to be honest. A couple of things that I found interesting when doing this research. Tom debuted for Everton when he was 17 in the end of the 15-16 season, and he played the last game of the season where he played the full 90 minutes and was given a man of the match award with no goals and no assists. So he's been showing promise for a long time, and I think it's one of them cases where he just needs a real solid run of form to start really establishing himself and fulfilling the potential, hopefully. But I do think his price as well has got some safety built into it because he's so undervalued when you compare him to someone like Sean Longstaff, which we'll go to next on the price analysis. One last thing I actually wanted to show you before we jump into the price analysis, and this is the lineup for the under-21 game recently in the Euro qualifiers. And I just wanted to show you the difference in some of the prices for the other under-21 players compared to Tom Davies. Now, some of these are younger, which does make a difference, but I do think that his price is a lot lower than the rest of them, and not all of these are playing for their teams yet. Now, it isn't a direct comparison, obviously, because of all the different positions and ages, but I do think that it shows a trend that England under-21 internationals do seem to fetch a good price, and Tom Davies seems to be the only exception in that. And I'm sure if I looked at the bench, you would see the same thing. So for the price target analysis for Tom that you've got on screen now, I went for Ovi Aharia, I think his name is, at Reading on loan from Liverpool. He's also 21 years old, he's English, he's a centre mid. So I used him for my low price target of 77p. Then I had Amadou Hadara at RB Leipzig for my medium target of 87p. And then Sean Longstaff for my high target of £1.34. This was a hard player to do comparisons with due to the lack of 21-year-old English pure centre mids. As you probably know, English players in the Prem earn a big premium on the index, so the low and mid targets are a good price check for where Davies should probably be sitting now, but Sean Longstaff is really the one I'm looking at for my buy thesis. I also listed a few of the players from the filtered search on Transfermarkt on the left just to show some other prices for 21-year-old centre mids from other countries who are getting more game time at their teams. Tom's the cheapest with the exception of Valverde at Real Madrid, but it's close, and with Tom being English, you should really be seeing a difference between the prices of more than a penny in order for Valverde to be a better pick. Then for the media, I decided to go for 2p in expected dividends because I think there is a chance that either when he gets in the first team or if he gets linked with a transfer away from Everton, then I think Tom could win the media dividend at some point in the next 12 months. And that leaves us with our expected profits highlighted in yellow of 23% for the low, 41% mid, and 115% high. Now, usually I look at the midpoint as the most realistic of the returns here, but if I'm honest, I've been buying a lot of shares in Tom because in my eyes, the high target is the one that I see as being more realistic. If we have a 12-month timeline and we're not factoring in for any growth in the general market, I think that's a realistic aim for us to have with our purchase. And I'll probably be holding even beyond 12 months unless something like a permanent move to a non-PB league was going to occur. That's all we've got for you on today's pick. Again, if you enjoyed the video, like, comment and subscribe. Also, if you know someone else who might like the video, then sharing with them would really help me out. There are links in the description for signing up to Football Index and Football Index Edge if you haven't already. And don't forget to check out the other videos on the channel for more strategy videos and the other picks of the day. Most picks are long-term holds with depressed prices for some reason or other, so often the picks can still offer the same value, if not better, a few weeks after. And the research methods and reasoning can help if you're new to the index and want to learn to analyse your own players. Thanks for watching, good luck on the index.